He's the manager for the Miami Marlins, Don Mattingly. How are you, Donnie?
Doing good, Dan. Missed you guys. I got down on your list, it sounds like.
Well, no, we were waiting if something controversial happened. If you got in trouble, you got ejected. And then I saw where you said you're in favor of the automated strike zone, the robo umpires. That surprised me a little bit. How did you come to that realization?
No, I just think watching these games and the technology has gotten so good with that. And really game to game as you watch so many calls for me. And I know there's a gray area they call and things like that. I just think it would make it a cleaner game. It keeps me from getting ejected, arguing balls and strikes. But I really do think it's getting to that point.
Why do we allow umpires to have their own interpretation of the strike zone? I find that now maybe we do that in all other sports where, you know, a football referee has his own interpretation of holding, or basketball referee has his interpretation of traveling. But when the strike zone varies that much, I don't understand why we gave them so much power.
I don't necessarily think that we've given them so much power. I think there's a definition of, what the strike zone is. Some guys just see it differently. And, I think the new setups, I'm pretty sure that they don't allow the guys to set up right behind the catcher anymore. They want them in the slot, which puts them in a bind. Guys are throwing harder and harder. There's so much movement. And it's just getting tough to keep that thing regulated. I think the auto zone or the robo umps, whatever you want to call it, it will regulate the strike zone. It will reward the guys that know the strike zone as hitters. And it will, guys are still going to chase, but it will reward those guys for knowing the strike zone, and it actually will reward the guys that can do it on the mound too. So it doesn't reward the guy that's throwing the ball 98, but it's not hitting corners. He's just missing, but it's close, and he's getting calls. You put the hitter in a tough spot.
Kershaw was on with us recently. He said he's not interested in it. He's not for it. I would think that it would help him even more. He said, "Look, I don't want to." There are jobs, with catchers who are really good at framing a pitch. And I said, that's not enough to not do the automated strike zone. I would think that would help someone like Kershaw. What do you think?
Well, I have a ton of respect for Clayton, obviously. He's a great guy and been a great pitcher for a long time. But, I do disagree. I just think that we can regulate this thing. And I think the technology is good enough to be able to get it where that curveball that barely crosses and bounces on the ground, they can regulate that enough where guys will know what a strike is and what a ball is, and not from one day to the next. When you get one guy because we get scouting reports every day on the umps, and we see the spots that they call more often and the spots they miss more. The top of the strike zone is a place where guys are going now. Some guys call the top, some guys don't, and it just it's hard for me as I watch, umpire to umpire. Each zone's a little bit different. And not that they're trying to be different, it's just that they are. They may not see the right side of the plate. They may be missing, one side of the plate more often, get the other side, and there's a little bit of space out there. So I think it just regulates it where strike's a strike, a ball's a ball.
How much did you benefit from having a great eye that the umpire might have consciously or subconsciously leaned towards helping you at the plate?
I think it helps guys. I feel like I did benefit some. I wasn't a guy that struck out a lot, but I didn't actually walk very much either. But I felt like I knew a strike from a ball, and you learn how to talk with guys. For me, if a ball was close, but it's an inch and a half off, I'm going to say, hey, I know that's close, but that's an inch and a half off. Or that's, what I mean? So I want to let him know that I know this strike zone. I want him to pay attention. And so I think you get respect in that order if you know how to talk to him. And then also you're not swinging at everything that comes up there. Guys that swing at balls over their head and then on the ground, then want to argue a ball that's an inch off. As an umpire, you're like, okay, you're swinging at everything up here. You don't know a ball from a strike, so you can't really talk to me like that.
He's Don Mattingly, manager of the Miami Marlins, Continental Tire Coach's Corner. Home runs are way up this year because of what?
I don't know. They keep going up, Dan, every year, it seems like. And, this year the ball seems to be flying. But you hear that same thing almost every year the last few years. Oh, the balls are juiced, this or that. But I will say we've been to some ballparks that in the past, you watch BP and you watch games and balls are hit, and they're going places that you didn't see them go in the past. And are the players getting bigger and stronger? Are guys throwing harder? So if you catch it, it goes further. I don't know, but in general, guys are going to get bigger and stronger as this game keeps evolving. But something is a little different this year.
Can you have too much of a good thing, though? Can we have too many home runs?
No, not necessarily. I don't think. I think the biggest complaint with the home runs, within baseball is that it's all or nothing right now. It's home run, it's walk, it's strikeout.
Are you teaching that? Are you teaching your kids that?
No, we don't mind home runs, but we also want guys that can put the ball in play. It's tough when you get a guy on third and you can't get him in because you get two straight strikeouts and or a pop up to the infield and you can't hardly get that guy in, and you can't really do anything. It's hard to hit and run. It's hard to put the game in motion when you got guys that can't put the ball in play. And so I think there's got to be a balance of guys that can put the ball in play, aren't striking out quite as much, so there's more action in the game. And I think that's kind of the biggest complaint within the game now is that there's not enough action. And if you're somebody that watches football or basketball or other sports, it seems like there's action all the time.
Yes.
And in baseball, if you watch a baseball game, it's like, it's just the tempo of it, which is the beauty of the game. It's kind of almost an endless game if it's played perfectly. But I think for a younger generation, the game is a slow game, and, they don't seem to like it as much.
Yeah, even a sacrifice bunt or hitting the ball to the other side, opposite side of the infield, that just doesn't happen. And I think we took movement for granted, Donnie, back when we were growing up or even when you were playing, that there were things that were going on. Now it's that guy throws 98 and that guy's sitting dead red and may the best man win and maybe you'll get a base hit or something, but that's about it.
I know. It's tough. And it's funny, even as a manager, and we shift as much as anyone. There are times when we're playing that guy. He's got to hit if he wants it. If he could bunt it,
a base hit.
It's just like, and they don't. And for the most part, guys don't.
Isn't that amazing? That's amazing.
It is to me because you're 3 or 4 runs down, and your run means nothing other than we need base runners, and we're playing a guy all the way over, and they don't take the opportunity. I mean, it's hard for me to even do it. It's like, man, why does that guy not take it? But they don't.
What's your favorite George Steinbrenner story?
I guess the one I always think about is a conversation I had with him when him and I were, I guess, going back and forth, over a situation, and he was talking about trading me. Dallas Green had taken over the club in '89, and he asked me, he says, hey, do you want to be here? And I said, yeah, I want to be here, but I want to be treated with respect. And he said, do you mind giving George a call? I said, sure. So I call him, and we start getting into it a little bit and back and forth over the respect. And, I tell him, I say, hey, I come to camp in shape. I play hard every day. I'll play hurt for you, but you got to treat me with respect. And he says, well, he goes, he kind of talks, and he says, well, good luck to you. And he hangs up on me. so it's at the end of after the '88 season, and so I'm kind of getting ready. I'm going back to Indiana and kind of packing up the house. And I told my wife at the time, I'm like, might as well put this thing on the market. We're gone. And from that point on, he treated me with respect, and we had a great relationship. And from that point on, it was great. It was almost like, okay, you stood up for yourself. Now we can move forward.
Where were you going to get traded to?
I'd heard, you never know, but I'd heard some Will Clark stuff to San Francisco.
Ooh.
I don't know what was going on with him or whatever, but that's what I had heard.
Nice. Well, we'll stay with that. It sounds kind of that's an interesting trade rumor there. Before I let you go, I want to ask you about that bench clearing brawl with the Pirates and the Reds. As a manager, how do you preempt that? What is your role if you know that this is going to happen, or somebody's hit and then there's retaliation, somebody Cadillacs a home run? What is your role?
Well, I think as a manager, really you have to try to keep the game in order. You don't want your guys getting thrown out of games. You don't want guys getting suspended. You have to be a leader in those situations. I haven't always been that, honestly. I mean, I've gotten fired up, and you get involved and you get emotional. But I think in general, you got to try to keep your club under control. You don't want guys getting hurt, and there's a lot of craziness in the game with all the kind of let the kids play thing has caused some issues. You see the not just hitting a homer and kind of admiring it a little bit. It kind of gets to the point sometimes you're like, man, somebody's got to go. Somebody's going to get hit for that one, right? And right now it's the players, I think, in general with that mindset. And pretty soon I think we're moving towards where pitchers start dancing after every strikeout and talking to guys like, get back in the dugout, go take a seat. And as that keeps going, I feel like it's going to get worse and worse. So hopefully, the players themselves can get a handle on this. To me, it goes back to respect. You hit a home run, hey, you feel good, but, you still want to respect the game itself. And do we want Little League kids pimping homers, tossing bats? Is that what we want to see out of a 9-year-old, coming up in this game? So I think we have some sort of responsibility to teach some sportsmanship and respect towards each other. And I think we still got to have fun. There is a play. Obviously, you want guys to have fun, have a good time. But I think at some point there needs to be some sort of line that we're going to treat guys with respect.
Of the 222 home runs, I think that's your total, that you hit, did you ever really watch one? Did you admire one a little too long?
I don't think so. I think the one time that I may have pimped one a little bit, it was in old Chicago, Comiskey, and I remember not feeling good that day. I was kind of beat up, kind of feel like I had a little cold coming on. And the first time up, they threw like 3 balls behind me, and I didn't even think about it really, because those days you were like, okay, he's trying to pitch me in, whatever. Then as I sit there in between them, I'm like, he tried to hit me every time, every pitch right there. And I got somebody, and I got the lefty the next time up. He hung me a curveball, I hit him out, and I probably took a little long to get around the bases on that one.
Why were they throwing at you?
You never know. Like, in the past, honestly, guys would throw at you. It was really a sense of respect, because they wanted to find out, hey, this guy's doing damage. I'm going to fire some balls in there and see if he still wants to cover that outside part of the plate.
Wow.
So there was some respect there when guys, want to knock you down. But, I'm not quite sure the reason. It was it was Tony. It was La Russa with the White Sox then. And I don't feel like I did anything other than maybe we hit somebody in there, and it was kind of a payback. I'm not sure.
Was it Floyd Bannister?
No, it was I think it was Juan Augusto. It was the guy I hit the homer off of, and he gave me all kinds of trouble, but it seemed he hung me one on that one.
Hey. Did you ever challenge? Did you go to the mound?
I don't think I ever went to the mound. I got frustrated. I remember getting hit in Oakland, another Tony.
Maybe it's La Russa didn't like you.
I love Tony. I think he's great. We hit Mac. I think Dave LaPointe hit him, and he hit him in the head. And he'd been hit a couple times that year. But it was a 3-1 pitch, and he's trying to get in. And Oakland had all those monsters at the time, and they kind of stood on the plate and just dared you. If you didn't pitch them in, they were going to kill you.
Yeah.
And so we hit Mac, and it's like I'm the third hitter, 2 outs, nobody on, and kind of first baseman, and Dave Stewart hit me right in the middle of the back. And it was almost like as soon as he started winding up, I seen his eyes turn. And it wasn't nowhere near the plate. And that one kind of irritated me, but he got me right. I mean, he got me good. So but that's just one of those things.
But so you hit McGuire, then you knew. Did you know going up there, they're probably going to take it out on me?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
What a weird sport. These unwritten rules of baseball. Damn. Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely, there's some of that going on. And that's, obviously it's changing. I don't think, obviously the league is, a few years back really tried to, keep that stuff away. You talk about doing it the right way when you hit a guy low and things like that. But with guys in velocity and command is not as good, I don't think, as it was in the past. More guys throwing harder, but a little wilder. That thing gets away up by your head. You understand you don't want anybody getting hit where it's, ending a career. And it's dangerous. Those balls run. That lefty on lefty or righty on righty, that thing that gets away usually runs right up towards the head. And it's dangerous if guys can't command it. And they're the one trying to, say, hey, I'm going to get this guy because of whatever. And he can't command it. It gets dangerous.
I remember Rob Dibble hit Tim Tuffle in the middle of the back, right in the middle of his back. And I swear to God, that baseball stayed in the middle of his back for like a second. He hit him. He hit him with 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's almost it left a dent, and the ball was just staying there. And I think
dropped straight down, right?
Yes. And Tuffle wanted to go out and challenge Dibble, and I think he knocked the wind out of him with that pitch. I can't imagine you get, like, if you hit me in the hip, okay, but in the middle of the back, it's got to knock the breath out of you.
To be honest with you, it doesn't matter really where you get hit. If you get hit solid with a baseball, it doesn't feel good. So no matter where you get it, you can see how guys get irritated because they do not feel good. That baseball can be hard.
Hey, I know you got to run. Always great to catch up with you. Thank you, as always, Don.
All right, Dan. Good to talk to you.
That's Don Mattingly, Miami Marlins manager, Continental Tire Coach's Corner, the exclusive tire of the Dan Patrick Show. No matter where you drive, what you drive, how you drive, Continental designs tires for what you do. For more information, continentaltire.com. Continental Tire for what you do.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.